Guys, the Labour Party has fallen. Keir Starmer. Starmer?
A tricky one for you.
No.
You all struggle with it, the penis question, don't you?
Look, firstly, a woman is an adult female, so let's clear that one up. Secondly,
Dude, the British Labour Party is now to the right of the Lib Dems on trans issues. I think the Lib Dems officially recognize, like, trans people or their identity is blah, blah. But, like, the Labour Party's official position now is that trans people are fake and mentally ill. They are to the right of Tories and economics. Yeah. I love the Labour Party purely because they're like a focal point for my hatred of social democrat, formerly socialist European political parties, where like 150 years ago, all of these guys were actual fucking like socialist revolutionaries who like stored like single shot rifles in their basements and were waiting for the day. And then like slowly, bit by bit, the tedium of proceduralist political engagement wore them down from socialists into social democrats who long one day for massive change into just regular social democrats, into neoliberals, and now into, I don't know, neoliberals with a reactionary bent. It's fantastic. The last hope this party had was Corbyn, and I didn't even like Corbyn that much, but holy shit, he's a hell of a lot better than this. The British Labour Party makes you thankful for the strength of Democrats. Dude, literally! I shouldn't have been enthusiastic there. Literally, though. Yeah, compared to the Labour Party, the Democrats look like a fucking bulwark of political consistency. That's not even a joke. That's true. Holy shit. Yeah, imagine like Joe Biden like going over to England being like, I'm here to save the Labour Party, Jack. You know, and he's actually like a left-wing turn for the party. Holy shit, you guys are so fucking cucked. Oh my God. That's brutal. Yeah. It's so cool how all of British politics is controlled by, like, J.K. Rowling and nobody else. Seriously, though, it really is fantastic. See, England, Britain or whatever, is a dying empire, and they're very, very desperate to cling on to whatever bits of global relevancy they have outside of what, I don't know, Austin Powers. What do you guys have anymore? Nothing. You have nothing. You're dead. You're dead to the world. England has been completely supplanted by America in terms of Anglophone cultural power. You have nothing. Doctor Who? Doctor Who is more like it. Your last few seasons sucked, and by few, I mean 14 of them. Anyway, and now you have this, right? Where, like, the one remaining like bulwark of British cultural power is Harry Potter, and for that reason your entire country's politics is dictated by it now. We're kowtowing to this ultra minority of women who are all sexual assault victims and all terrified of people with penises and are taking it out on trans women, mind you, sexually assaulted by men, not trans women, and they just completely control your politics now, and that's everything. John Oliver is the last good Brit. Yeah, and he's on an American show.
Keep it a medical process. And we've always said, and continued to say, and Sunday when we completed our policy reform allowed us to be clear, that there should be safe spaces for women, particularly in relation to violence against women and girls. And when I was Director of Public Prosecution, spent a lot of time dealing with cases of violence against women and girls, and therefore feel very strongly about these safe spaces for...
Really? How many of those acts of violence are committed by trans women? Just curious, because I don't know what the relevancy is otherwise.
Women.
And why are trans women, are you saying they're disproportionately likely to be violent in these situations? I don't understand. What are you saying?
No, I think...
No? Oh, then that's it. We don't have any evidence of trans women being more violent in any of these situations than cis women. So he's like, well, we're very concerned. Is there any increased likelihood of them being violent? Well, no. Okay, then that's it. That's it. Then there's nothing. It's nothing. It's all fifis. Feelings. Truly a women's issue then, because there's no facts. It's all feelings.
It's more that biological women who've been subject to violence against women and girls want a safe space where they can feel...
Remember that trans women are more likely to be subject to sexual violence than cis women are.
Safe from what?
Well, a safe space where they can feel that they are, properly supported and protected. And this comes from the tales of survivors.
Why wouldn't they be properly and supported and protected? I don't understand. Why wouldn't that be the case?
Props to who's this guy, by the way? Props to him for just asking these questions that Keir Starmer cannot answer. Like, he's just directly asking, can you explain, like, any of this? Like, why does any of it, can you, like, give any explanation whatsoever for any of this? And Keir's like, our dying empire needs something to cling on to. I can't ostracize the Queen Rowling. I must say that, that's Nicky Campbell. Met him once and he was lovely. Well, that's nice.
Well, I think the Scottish prisoner case probably answers that question.
No, it does not. A single case in a country of tens of millions does not answer anything. Also, I remember going over that specific case, and if I recall correctly, it was massively misrepresented by the media. One trans woman is all it takes. One trans woman committing assault is all it takes for a country of tens of millions to have their policies changed. That's it. Absolutely no different from citing like a single black man committing an assault in support of any sort of like racial apartheid law. He also changed his position on it 4 times because he doesn't care. He doesn't believe any of this. He's just desperately trying to kowtow to the loudest minority possible. Guys, there has been polling done in Britain. Women are far more likely to support trans rights in Britain than men are. The TERF movement is a spook. It's not real. It's not a real thing. There are like 5 loud TERF women supported by the entire bulwark of conservatism. But the TERF movement itself doesn't, they don't care about women.
In terms of,
there are a lot of people in the Isla Bryson was the name of the person. You think there are a lot of examples of that?
I'm not saying there's a lot of examples.
There's not a lot. There was one, though. There was one. I'm not saying there was a lot. There's one.
Of that, but I do think the principle of safe spaces is very important for women.
Thank you.
Nice. Phenomenal. Getting epically owned on the penis question because Starmer is completely dickless. Do you think it's reasonable that actually left elements of labor split and form their own party? Yeah. The Labor Party is fucked, man. Remember that document that came out, or the reporting that came out, where there were people in the Labor Party who were deliberately sabotaging their own party because they hated Corbyn? The institution of the Labor Party is fucked. It's not just like a couple of leaders. It's the entire like culture of it, head to toe. You need to form a new one. And thankfully, in England, they have a parliamentary system, which means that over there, additional parties aren't like immediately handicapped from the get-go. Yes, forming an actual like left party might be a better idea there. It's still first past the post? Yeah, but at least it's parliamentary. Form some kind of coalition. Joining the Greens would be better than making a new party. I don't know anything about the Green Party in Britain, I'm afraid. Did you see them block the Scottish bill? Yes, I remember. They had the ability to block Scottish bills, which they didn't use for decades and decades, and then they finally use it, and it was on a Scottish gender self-identification, something utterly inconsequential that affects negatively not a single person on Earth. But for that, they broke a decades-long tradition of not just blocking Scottish bills, because all England has now as a cultural export is transphobia. There's nothing else. As a dying empire, their only consideration is what they can do to maintain some degree of international relevance. And right now, transphobia is it. That's it. That's literally it. I'm not joking when I say this. I'm not engaging in comedic hyperbole. That is genuinely it. The Queen is dead, guys. England is dead. It's gone. It doesn't exist anymore. Your country is dead. America reigns. America lives. You're dead. Which is why our political talking points, conservative and liberal, make their way to your backwater countries over in Europe. But at least other European countries, like Spain or Italy or France or Germany, they have independent identities. But no, sorry, you guys, you British, happen to be shackled to the language and culture of the most powerful nation on earth. So you live in our shadow. And like all former empires who live in the shadow of another, you are so desperate to regain anything that you'll focus on anything that gives you international renown, even if it just means being the global epicenter of the Western transphobia movement. Even though, as I understand it, the majority of people, especially the majority of women in Britain, support trans people. Let me check. 2 in 3 Britons think transgender people face discrimination, but support for gender-affirming measures are mixed. 47% agree trans teenagers should be allowed to receive gender-affirming care. What he says. This isn't separated by gender like the one I was thinking of. Where does the British public stand on transgender rights? In 2022. I don't see the split in gender here. Well, your support for trans people lags a bit behind the United States, but it's not that far behind. The UK's fucked itself so much, kids are literally shrinking. Yeah, I don't know if a lot of people in America understand this, but England is like a third world nation. I'm half joking. London is a bustling metropolitan utopia for the ultra wealthy who stride across it like giants, but a significant portion of people in Britain have like actual hunger issues. Here in America, we do as well, but I think it's even worse over there. Number of UK children in food poverty nearly doubles in a year to 4 million. Jesus. How many kids are there in the UK? 4 million? Okay, so that's 1 in 3 children in the UK are in food poverty. It's 12.7 million under 16 years of age. So that's 1 in 3 who are in food poverty, which is significantly worse than the United States. Not to say we're good. We're not. But Jesus. Look at that. In 1 year, the amount of overall food insecurity doubled. In 1 year. What are the numbers in the USA? In the USA, in 2021, 33.8 million people lived in food insecure households, which would be about 10% of our population, as opposed to the 22% here. Though the fact that it doubled in 1 year indicates that it's probably going to be even worse next year. I mean, apparently it's so severe that children raised in the UK are shorter than other European children. By how much? Jesus. Fallen 30 places in the global ranking of how tall their children are. Yeah, it's not just inflation in the UK, it's GDP. This is why I've said before, the GDP numbers are not a good indication of how well people in a country are doing, but GDP stagnation is. And the UK hasn't really moved since the 2008 financial crisis. They dipped and they got up, but then they dipped again and dip. They've been in basically the same place. They haven't moved. It's your birthday? Happy birthday, Xander Hall. Congratulations. Keir Starmer has earned the nickname Kid Starver. That's very fitting. Labour would keep the 2-child benefit cap. Ah, the Labour Party, the bulwark of English socialism. Yes. Sorry, you got a third kid? I guess that kid's going to have to can maybe suck on chicken bones or eat dentist scraps or what do you think we should do? Move to America. Move to a real country. Really, though, I don't know. Yeesh. I mean, basically every country's economy is stagnating. I think things are especially bad over in the UK, though, because London is one of, if not the financial capitals of the world, and the financiers of the world are always doing well. So what we're seeing right here is the GDP remains stagnant, is an enormous amount of wealth is being generated in London for the benefit of people who will never give back to the economy, which means that the overall like proportional wealth of the country is going down over time. Because for the GDP to remain stagnant during that time would indicate like, you know, it's not even US GDP growth accelerates to 2.4%. Holy shit. We're never going to stop growing, baby. Infinite growth is fine as long as you're America. Capitalism works, but only in this country. Look at the line going up, man. Jesus Christ. Look. A lot of wealth stays in London and is not being reinvested into rural areas. Yeah, the income inequality in England is fucking insane. I genuinely think it's because America income inequality is insane because you can go to like New York or LA or Las Vegas or whatever, and then you go to the middle part of the country, like the Midwest, and everything is just a gas stop with houses attached. But like, I think in a lot of ways, it's actually worse in the UK. Hold on. UK average income by county. Is it county or borough over there? I forget what term you guys have. I don't remember the exact. Give me a map. Give me a map. It's county? Okay. Median earnings by constituency, all employees, 2011. Look, see London. Okay. See how there's a little chunk right here that's left out? That's London. And then this is London expanded. And then see how there's a chunk in London that's left out? That's the city of London, which it's its own city inside of London. And the city of London is where all of the like Epstein types go in to rape children and make a lot of money. Also not joking. Yeah, it's data unavailable here because it's like a whole separate thing. Have you ever been to the UK? No. Over a third of a million excess deaths in Britain linked to austerity. Jesus Christ. But hey, yeah, the Labour Party's got big issues to focus on, like whether or not trans women should be allowed to go into women's restrooms, you know? The Labour Party would be proud to see where it's come in the past century. I don't think China's ever going to catch up, Kowalski from Nebraska. Their economy is about to go in the fucking shitter. Arguably, it already has. People have already accused China of falsifying their GDP numbers, which I don't think is guaranteed to be true, but could conceivably be true. It's certainly not like... It's certainly not out of hat for them. And, you know, with that population imbalance, Ireland's GDP is better than UK's. Ireland has a very specific strategy for GDP growth, which is their tax rates, their corporate tax rates are incredibly low, and they encourage companies to set up shop there because it operates as a tax haven. It's something that works for smaller countries, but not larger ones. And I mean, it's a strategy. I don't think it's inherently a bad idea. I mean, you need money to come into your country if you want your people to be able to afford food, but it's definitely not like... It's definitely not the recipe for like long-standing economic success. And it does cause global problems. Because all the countries around the world like move over to Ireland to not pay taxes there rather than staying here and paying taxes here, you know? Is there any way to lock a company to specific countries? There are laws that you can employ. To an extent, I support them. You know, but it's very complicated. You don't want to cause capital flight, but capital flight's also like a highly overestimated risk in many cases. It's complicated. Meta and Google UK are both in Ireland. Makes sense, makes sense. Does Britain tax their business? Well, Britain does. Ireland is a tax haven.